Greetings, Dr. Will here. Welcome back to the serialization of What You Don't Know, Successfully Lead a Software Project Without Tech Expertise. Episode 3, Chapter 1, Software Introduction, Part 1. A quote from Walt Disney, quote, "Whatever you do, do it well. Do it so well that when people see you do it, they will want to come back and see you do it again, and they will want to bring others to show them how well you do what you do." The plight of a non-technologist founder or co-founder in the SaaS, software as a service space, is the same as that of a non-technologist manager who inherits a software project, for example, being put in charge of implementing a customized enterprise resource planning ERP solution, or that of a non-technologist business owner or operator who contracts with a developer for a custom app. Basically, they're screwed. Well, maybe not. But all three of these roles often begin by enjoying the bliss of ignorance when launching or inheriting the project. As knowledge increases with experience, however, bliss is replaced by a growing concern, and then panic sets in if, or rather when, the project goes off the rails. What happened? And why did it happen? Are the questions that are most often asked. But the more urgent question is, how to get it back on track? Or, does it make any sense even to try to get it back on track? It would have been better to prevent the project's descent into chaos in the first place. Lean on me. Many founders are told to begin by first selling and then building an MVP, minimum viable product. The Lean Startup model, promoted by Eric Ries in his book The Lean Startup, consists of building with an MVP concept and then pre-selling it to early adopters who provide valuable guidance as customers and end users in the evolution of the product. Bootstrapped SaaS founders rely on pre-sales to provide the wherewithal to produce the product. But notice how this makes a virtue of committing the cardinal sin of small businesses, beginning undercapitalized. By the time enough subscriptions have been pre-sold, there is some money and information gleaned directly from the prospective customers concerning precisely what the system is supposed to do. The founder who has been demoing the system has the a priori knowledge of what the system was originally supposed to do and the extra information provided by the prospects. Because the founder is so busy selling the concept, using a wireframe model of the system, they often don't have the time to write down what the system is supposed to do. This creates the first challenge in developing the system. There may be videos or recordings of the sales sessions between the founder and the customer base, but none of the information is documented in a way that is usable by a developer. The non-technologist then hires a technical expert, a developer, to build the MVP that has been promised to the end user or customer. Based on the money available from the pre-sale, the founder budgets for developing the product. How many people should be hired? How much time should be allowed for the development? What resources are going to be needed? Starting with contractors, because that is the advice received, founders go to hire somebody. Each of the somebodies has particular skills and experience. Depending on the application, the technology the contractor has experience with may or may not be the best or even a good match for the application. A contractor whose main job is to stay gainfully employed with no stake in the founder's long-term survival and with a skill set that may or may not match the tech stack that will be needed by the application is tasked with building the software system that is more or less understood by the founder but nowhere described in writing. This is usually the time frame where the first estimate of how long until we have a working prototype or system is asked. Implicitly, the real question is, what will it cost? The contractor provides the best estimate consistent with their experience with similar projects, their understanding of the requirements, and the extent of the need for other support capabilities, for example, quality assurance, and their best guess as to how much the founder is willing or able to pay. With luck, the founder can hire a large enough team to have a prayer of getting the product completed in a reasonable time frame per the customer base's desire. Finding a group of random characters on Upwork, yet another recommendation by founder advisors, may result in developers spread across the globe, some of whom may speak the native language of the founder well enough to communicate and be communicated with. As Jane Cobb would say, "I'm smelling a lot of if coming off this plan." Risk. Quote by Thucydides, "Hope is an expensive commodity. It makes better sense to be prepared." Now, none of this is intended to suggest that the task in front of the founder is impossible. Certainly, there are companies built on this model that have been quite successful. There are also coaches who help the budding entrepreneur and founder, but generally not focusing on managers or owner-operators in similar situations, walk the talk of the lean startup machine. These coaches are usually open and honest about the need for very hard work to succeed at this. Hope, though, springs eternal, n'est pas? The startup landscape is littered with the corpses of failed enterprises.
Staggering across that rubble-strewn scene are zombie companies that make just enough, or not quite enough, to stumble forward month by month into an uncertain future, looking for brains to eat. There's more than a little risk bound up in starting a business, and there's more than a little risk bound up in any and every software development project. I'm looking at you, managers and owner-operators. So the risk for a software-based startup is, well, even more exhilarating. Software projects often have a set of risks similar to almost every other software project. These risks, like any risk, can be managed and mitigated if you know what you are doing. This book is a crash course in software for the non-technologist founder, manager, and owner-operator to understand what must be done, what should be done, what can be done, and what might be done to lead a successful project. Poster from despair.com, quote, "If you never try anything new, you'll miss out on many of life's great disappointments." As a species, we humans have been building large systems, buildings in particular, for millennia. Even with thousands of years of experience, we still have cost and schedule overruns on building projects. We have 50 years, roughly, of experience building software systems. Why would we expect to be any better at estimating and planning a software project than we are at estimating and planning a building project? Building a building, however, looks like a massive undertaking. Heavy equipment, many people wearing hard hats, plans and diagrams, trailers with managers and staff on site. Busy, busy, busy. Building a software system, arguably an intellectually more challenging task, mostly looks like typing, secretarial work. Software has no manufacturing phase, even though there is a project stage called construction. Most of the actual work and effort go into the engineering or hacking of the software code, not into its reproduction.
That ends Chapter 1, Software Introduction, Part 1. Join us next time for Episode 4, Part 2 of Chapter 1. Remember, you can always cut to the chase and purchase the book in your preferred format. See the show notes for the link. That's it for me for you for now. Be careful out there. Bye.